Beautiful peoples, welcome. Welcome to Hood Philosophy, where we're going to discuss and maybe even answer some of life's biggest questions in a way that clicks with people from all walks of life. So, we're talking about the hood cats, the single mums, the people that are on struggle street, maybe sleeping rough, people with disabilities, mental health issues, anybody that wouldn't usually listen to a podcast. We're looking to reach you, eh? We believe that we can talk about some of these issues in a way that everybody can understand, not just your intellectuals and your so-called philosophers of the day. Anyway, my name's Z, and today is a bonus episode. So I had quite the day, if I must say. I met someone that got my mind very, very stimulated, and I just thought I'd share that love with all you beautiful peoples, eh? So, firstly, as always, I'd like to give thanks to you fellas and just the opportunity to be here and able to send out my love to into this big bad world. Not all of us are blessed to have this opportunity. So for that, I'd like to give thanks. I'd also just like to ask everybody to keep my bro Afif and his family in their thoughts and their prayers. They've just had a little one who's and is yeah, they just had a little boy and he's going through some struggles. And yeah, he gonna pull through, inshallah. Um, but I still ask you, keep keep him there with you, the young fella. I'd also like to shout out Paul. So I met Paul today. First time I've worked with a young fella over Logan Way, and whoa, Paul! When you meet a like-minded individual, and you just click, use a line, and you almost finish each other's sentences. Well, Paul's a professional mentor, eh? And he he acts like a leader. He walks like a leader. He talks like a leader. And today we were touching on values. We were touching on the the notion of purpose and how it's a mode of being as opposed to just finding your purpose, or like, because our purpose can always be diluted in ways that we don't realize in that time, and that's why we get we get thrown off the path that we created for ourselves when originally we found our purpose, right? Because we compromised on our core values. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. I'd like to that's why I made the episode. That's why we recorded the episode. But yeah, so Paul's from Kenya. I told myself I'm not going to touch the mic. I didn't touch the mic then. All right. I touched this thing. Lucky you fellas can see. I got Tim over here in the corner chuckling. Hey Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul, he's from Kenya. He's got a little boy, and he is devoted to his family. But not only is he devoted to his family, he's looking to make a wider impact on the world. And he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it for his family, but he's doing it because he believes that one person at a time can have a ripple effect. What do I mean by a ripple effect? So, say for example, brother Paul helps a man find a job. Well, in that sense, he's helping a whole family sleep at night, isn't he? And then their kids can go to school with a feed in their belly, and go on to do great things after they've been educated and whatnot. That's what I mean by ripple effect, eh? Like, it's it's that one initial act that can lead on, right, and impact other people, because it was done in a sense of service with purpose. And and Paul, he's all about that. And it's very rare that you get to meet someone that actually walks in greatness, eh? And that's what this show's about, is we on the path. Will we ever achieve greatness? Who knows? But that's where we want to get to. And it's a journey, it's not an end result. And sometimes we focus on the end result. Not sometimes, 90% of people, eh? Well, all we want to do is achieve, 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 achieve. But then what? What happens when you achieve what you want to achieve? Is that good enough for you? You say, no, really. Like, ask yourself. I think this is very important, and you're probably thinking, "Oh, he's going back and forth here." Yeah, I'm doing it on purpose, because it was that kind of day, like it was that kind of conversation, like um, we just kept getting into it, waiting for the young fella to wake up. It's Sunday morning. You thought he'd have a sleep in, and we got into it. I lost my chain of thought, but that's all right. We'll come back to that. So we'll go back to the bro Paul. Yeah, so he runs a mentoring program, and I think he's one of them fellas that I'm gonna fuck with. Like, I'd be silly to pass up the opportunity to properly connect with the bro outside of work, and walk together. When someone when someone have like when someone looks to give you a hand, isn't it interesting? Like, on the first episode, I was talking about I've been waiting, I've been waiting, I've been waiting. I got sick of fucking waiting, so we're here. We leading, we're we're doing, we're not being. You can't be a leader without doing that shit. You got to get the people to walk with you. But that doesn't mean I'm not open. The heart, the mind, the soul, the brain. We open to new opportunities, to unlocking windows, doors, whatever opens. This Because I'd be crazy not to, eh? We want to spread this greatness. Like, that's the end goal. At the end of the day, is I'm not building a legacy. I'm building a eulogy. Like, I when I say that I want I, I want to help people. I want to turn boys into men. I feel it here. It's not just something that, like, I've written down, and I think it. I'll start that tomorrow. No, I live that every single day, whether it be at the gym, or at the supermarket, or at work, where I spend the majority of my time, but most importantly with my sons. And we've been getting the opportunity to do that lately, and this podcast has been a great way for to see their dad in a different light, because all they get is the dad, right? Dad Z. Well, now they they hear what I'm always carrying on about every single day in a different light. They see me trying to reach other people, you know? Because don't get it twisted. That's why my boys have, for their ages, they're quite humble, eh? They're kind, and it's because they've grown up, and they see the people around them trying to help people, and it hasn't always been this way. Especially for my oldest boy when he was growing up. No, that was they were different times. He's seen things that he shouldn't have seen, and for that, I'll always, there's no shame there. But do I understand the impact of my actions? Always, always. Like, I'm not about to give myself a cop out, and I'm over giving grown men and adults cop outs, when quite often I'm not going to give my kids these cop outs. Why? Because accountability, right? Who are you accountable to? If you can't be accountable to yourself, Well, how can you be accountable to others? That's probably something that like we all need to think about. Do our excuses matter? Does context matter? Sorry, absolutely. That's what this show is all about. Is getting into the nitty gritty and like looking at the why. You know, why do we react to situations in this manner? Why do we love? Why do we hate? That's what I'm about. Not just about trying to answer them questions, but asking them questions as well. Because that's where the true wisdom lies. Is when you're ready to just open your mind and ask questions, not just of yourself, but when you're consuming whatever you're consuming, whether it be a book, a podcast, a YouTube video, anything, a piece of artwork, and just asking yourself why. Oof. Oh, okay. So time for that time. Time for that time. That's the way to say stuff on a podcast, eh? Learning process, but slowly, we'll get better. And I'll keep saying it, even at like the 100th episode of the learning process, guys. Bear with me. Haha. Nah, accountability, right? I expect you guys to hold me nice and accountable. Don't hold back. I got pretty thick skin. Pretty thick skin. So thick that I hurt my back rolling a car up the driveway, but it was up the driveway. And I think we did a pretty good job, eh? Was it worth the sore back? Yeah, yeah. It felt pretty good after. I got to be honest with you. I'm gonna go have a hot bath, and that'll do the trick. You know. All right. Okay. The question of the day is, let me fuck with you. Why are you why? Hit me in the comment section, the comment box, whatever you call it. I have no idea. Okay, so back to Paul. Paul had a quote today. All right, I got it here. The solution to pollution is dilution. Oof. You know what I hear when I hear that? I hear balance. Okay, and I know that some people are going to hear that quote and hear that I said balance and be like, "What the fuck? What are you going on about?" The solution to pollution is dilution. Okay, so solution. Everybody knows what that is, right? That's what we were looking for. Yep. Pollution. The pollution is there. It is there. You can't get rid of it. You've already polluted, whatever you've polluted. It might be your brain, might be your body, it might be your soul. Well, what do you need to do if you can't get rid of it? You need to find a balance. And for me, that's the dilution. You got to dilute it in a way that it aligns, you know? It's like a chemical imbalance, right? Well, you got to keep trying shit until you come to a chemical balance. And not everybody's going to understand that analogy, but that's okay. That's okay. The solution to pollution is dilution. Yeah, if you just want to let me know what that means to you, don't hold back. Hit me. Hit me. Hit me. Okay. So I got a quote from young Pueblo. He's a poet and he's an author. You fellas check him out. If you think he's worth checking out, check him out. If not, don't. Up to you. The quote is, I'm not looking to fall into other people's tensions. I'm looking to invite them into my peace. Oof. And you know what that speaks to? Is not letting other people guide the way you react to situations. Not investing in one's energy because you're around them. It's building a resilience to other people's energy in a sense that you don't consume or be consumed by the space that they're holding in regards to their feelings and emotions and their frequencies, right? They're like what makes up their energy. And instead of getting wrapped up in all their bullshit, and let's keep it real, like a lot of the time it is bullshit and sometimes it's not. But when it comes to your well-being, it's bullshit, isn't it? You don't want none of that. You want to keep that out. Okay? So what do? You don't match their energy. You look to bring down their energy to your level, right? You want to bring them into your peaceful state. Well, how you do that? By maintaining that state to start with and showing some empathy. And when I say empathy, quite often what a person first wants is just to be acknowledged. You know, they want to hear that. They just want to hear, I feel your pain. They're not looking for a solution. They're not looking for you to understand. Because how can you? You don't live their life. You can relate to one's experience. All right. This is something very, very, very. I got a little bit of sore back, so I'm going to move it. Very close to my heart. The notion of empathy. Okay. All right. I think lots of people get it twisted in regards to how they think they should practice empathy. In my personal opinion. Okay. So I'll provide an example. So sometimes I'll say to people, "Hey, oh, like I won't say it off the bat, but we'll get to talking, and we're talking about our past and stuff, and I'll say, look, I've done lots of shit in my life that I can't make up for, and quite often the first response is, yeah, me too. Yeah, I understand that. I understand what you mean. I understand what you went through. Pardon? Okay. Firstly, just bringing the mic in a little bit. Firstly, I'm sharing my story with you. Just listen. Is it really that hard? Like, come on now. Because I know you can't put it on me that I don't listen to you fellas. And I'm not saying this to anybody directly. I'm just saying in general because this is an example. But it does annoy me. Just listen and acknowledge us. And like all you have to say, this is it. This is it. And use me as an example. It's like, oh fuck, that's shit. See, you know, or like, and it doesn't even have to be that. It's like, oh, okay, what does that look like for you then? Like just acknowledge it. You don't have to understand it. Why do you have to understand it? Why? What is it about our need to understand before our need to help out a loved one? Like think about the logic of that. How selfish is that shit? And sometimes I engage in this bullshit as well. But it's not the notion of true empathy. All right, let me school you fellas, eh? No, I'm just fucking with you. Okay, this is how I see empathy. And if anyone wants to discuss and debate, I welcome you. Let's do it. We do it on we do it on the Hood Philosophy podcast. Hey, wouldn't that be a bit of fun? Empathy. Okay. So I believe that yes, while we relate to people with our lived experience, we relate to them. We don't understand. Okay. So what's the best way of understanding or even just attempting to understand, trying your best, your very best to understand what someone is going through? The only way you can do that is asking yourself, like, what if I was them? What would I have done differently? Or would I have done the same thing? How do you do that? How do you do that? Let me tell you. All right, let me tell you. You take off your shoes and your socks before you put yourself in the shoes of somebody else. See, because lots of people think that you just put yourself into the shoes of somebody else, but you're already wearing shoes. You already got all your baggage. You already got all your lived experience to guide what you're going to say by. You know, yeah, like and I realize what I'm asking of people here. This is hard, but anything worth doing is hard. I can't say it like any more profoundly, eh? Like anything in this life that seems like hard work usually has long-term benefits or long-term effects of a magnitude that's beautiful all day, every day. Anything that's hard, you know, whether it be maintaining a routine or showing up every day or practice, repetition, it's all fucking monotonous and it's boring. And you got to do it on the days that you're sick. You got to do it on the days that you're raining. And that's why nobody wants to do it, you know? Nobody. But if you want to talk about empathy, you got to do it. Okay? So first you acknowledge their pain because that gives them validation. Okay? We all want to be validated when we're feeling hurt, betrayed, angry, sad, all these negative emotions, right? Yeah, we want someone to hear us. First and foremost, off the bat, we don't need anybody to understand. How you understand? Come on now. Let's wake up to ourselves. Okay. So acknowledge the pain. Take off your shoes. Before you take off your shoes, sorry, use your lived experience to relate if need be, if the situation calls for it. If you don't need to insert yourself into the situation and it is very clear, don't insert yourself into the fucking situation. Okay? Because that's just selfish. And if the goal is to show empathy, then there's no point in, you know, like you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for the person that you're trying to help. And if you're not doing it for the person that you're trying to help, you're not going to help the person because intentions do matter. And if your good intention comes from a shit place, ain't shit gonna pan out for you, you know? It's just I'm sorry, that's not how the world works. Acknowledge, relate, take off your shoes, get rid of all your preconceived notions of that related experience, and then ask yourself, what if I was them? When you ask yourself, what if I was them, that's you putting your feet into the person's shoes. You know, quite often when you ask yourself that question about what if it was me? What if it was me in that situation? What would I have done in that situation? Quite often the answer is I would have done exactly the same fucking thing. Context matters. It has to. All right. That's the lesson of the day for me. And that's one thing. One of the lessons I took away from my conversation with Paul. There were lots. We got into everything, eh? Um, but yeah, going back to young Pueblo's quote, I'm not looking to fall into other people's tensions. I want to invite them into my peace. Yeah, that's that's a challenge, isn't it? But is it a challenge that you're ready for? I reckon. I reckon you're ready for it. I reckon you can get it done, eh? Because how do you get it done? You focus on becoming a little bit more calm, cool, and collected. But that's a big one. That's a big one. That comes with time and lots of hard work. What do I mean by that? In regards to like peaceful energy, because you want to be like that person to that other people gravitate towards, right? And that comes through energy. Like when when like someone walks into the room and everybody turns around. Well, not everybody's seen the follower walk into the room, right? No, they felt that person's energy. It was vibrant, you know. It reached far and wide, and that. All right. I'll touch on a little bit. All right, a little bit. I'm doing this for the wifey, my beautiful wife, Farisha. She's always asking me to talk about compromise. Let's have at it. Compromise. This is something that I never used to engage in. Just ask her. For a long time, my way or the highway, eh? Like if you didn't do it my way, I wouldn't engage in the activity. I'm not talking about just with the wife. And the reason I go like that is because I'm literally across the road from my house. Shout out to the brother Tim. You know, he looks after me, man. Um, no internet connection. Yeah. Beautiful peoples, welcome back. We just had a connection error that you'll see in the video later. I did go to edit it, but we don't know if it worked. So we'll see how we go. So back to compromise. Yeah, it used to be my way or the highway. I just didn't have an open mind. And I'm so I used to be so set in my ways that I I just I guess I was too scared of trying anything else. Nah, let's keep it real. I was too proud. Yeah, it kind of hit me then. Why? Why would I never compromise? And it always comes back to the ego, right? It was either I was too proud or I was too insecure because someone else had a better idea than me. And I know that doesn't speak to all you people in regards to like how you go about that and all like where it comes from. But most roads usually lead back to the ego. It's the source of like, our insecurities which emanate in anxiety and fear and all these shitty ass feelings and emotions that overwhelm the fuck out of us. Whether it be simple things like studying for a test or getting pulled up by police or yeah, I know that's got nothing to do with compromise, but I was just talking about some of the things that can elicit these emotions. Compromise. Okay. When the relationship with my wife probably actually became a relationship, I was going to say like start to improve, but it wasn't a relationship before then, you know? It was my way or the highway. How the fuck like a relationship involves two people. You know what a relationship involves as well? Compromise. Yeah. But I thought, I'm the man in the relationship, so I get to choose how everything goes. But you know what it creates when two people who so-called love each other, and we'll talk more on love in another episode. You know what it creates is friction. Two people constantly, when it could just be like, you know, and then a line. And sometimes alignment doesn't come from everybody getting everything that they want. No, you know what it's about? It's about finding the common ground, not the middle ground. Fuck the middle ground. Because I'm not about to compromise on my core values for anybody. For anybody. No, no, that's not how it goes. That's not what core values are about. And that was actually the point of the episode is we were going to touch on core values. All right, okay. You know what, darling? We spoke on compromise. That's it for today. You'll get more in due time. Okay, core values. Okay, so when you ask people what are their values, they'll list you 3,000 trillion gazillion different things off to you. And it's like, huh? You value that much? Bro, I'm high energy. Let me tell you right now, I got three core values. I have there's obviously I obviously value a whole heap of other things, but I have three core values, and I take them from a list of that I believe five. It's about five core values, okay, and I did write them down. Okay, for me, the five core values are respect, integrity, empathy, compassion, authenticity. Okay, everything else ties in to these five core values. Okay, so you're like kindness, compassion, um, leadership is like respect and integrity, authenticity. So much applies to authenticity in regards to what we think of values. Let's get them up. Let's get up a list of all the different values: perseverance, gratitude, humility, resilience, balance. Think about it. Think about how you can apply these to respect, integrity, and passion, empathy, authenticity. Okay, I'm not going to go through them with you, but I do want to leave you fellas to really ponder. Have I ever actually thought about what my core values are? Is there a point to working out what your core values are? Fuck yes, there is. If you haven't got your core values set in stone, you're 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 gonna compromise yourself all day, every day. You're gonna be a people pleaser. You're gonna give a fuck what like he, she, they, everybody thinks. You're gonna let people guide the way you react to other people's like to the way other people fucking mess with you, all kinds of things without your core values. So out of them three, mine are respect, empathy, and authenticity. So hate me, love me, you will respect me. This is not something I am willing to compromise on. I've quite often gone without because of this, because I am not willing to compromise on my core values. I understand that this is something very, very difficult for people to get their heads around, and that's okay. I get it that in this day and age, character is not held in the same light. No, fuck that. This day and age, it's never been right. Like in the grand scheme of things, yeah. When all these great people pass away, then we want to talk about how good they are. We want to talk about their character, how they were unwilling to compromise on their values. But quite often, when these people were around, we didn't give a fuck. Yeah, we loved how famous they were, but that's it. We got swept up in the, in that in all that like Hollywood drama rubbish, but we never actually like wanted to embody these fellas' core values. Because what do you think makes up your character? Well, what do you think gets gives you purpose? Well, like and let's tie it in with purpose, because that's that's what we touched on at the start of the episode, and we spoke about going down a different path that was first intended when you first worked out what your purpose was. And quite often it's because we don't have a foundation that is set in stone with our feet on the ground. A- and you know where that comes from? It comes from one of the core values, authenticity. And and I'm very blessed. I'm very privileged. I'm in a place. I know who I am. I'm proud of the man I am. I know who I was, because without knowing who I was, I don't know where I'm going, You know? And that's and we got to keep this in mind, cuz even when I was a shit cunt, I had some values. I had some good values, obviously, because I came out on the other side, you know? It's when we don't know what makes us tick. And I keep hitting here because this is where it sits inside for me. Okay, lots of these core values, they're not something that you have, they're something that you are. Dude, does that click with you? I, it has to, like It's not something that you have, it's something that you are. It's a mode of being, you know? It's like gratitude. You you just can't throw it about and say I'm grateful here and I'm grateful there. No, you wake up grateful. That's why you can find the beauty in the beast because and like that's why you can sit in the darkness and feel its light. Oh, but the darkness isn't supposed to have light. Who the fuck said? You know? It's what you make of it. It's what you make of it. And if you have set in stone core values, which I know lots of people don't, and for me, it's why, especially a lot of the young fellas out there that feel lost and feel disconnected in a world that's changing constantly, and at a pace that's fucking blows your mind. It's why you fellas so lost, man. It's because there's no foundation. How and to the fellas that found your purpose without core values, I ask you, is that your purpose? Maybe it's time to reassess. Maybe it's time to ask yourself, what are my core values? If you have 100 core values, how are they core? You know, how because otherwise you all this shit to focus on. No, no, you want to make three your core and you want to just slowly work at it, slowly work at it, slowly work at it, nurture, practice, patience, and in time, master. And yeah, you add it, but it's not a core value. It's not something that you're willing to compromise on. If you have 100 core values that you're not willing to compromise on, well, you're not going to live much of a fucking life, are you? All right. What else are we going to talk about today? Authenticity. It's rare. It's rare. That's greatness. Authenticity. What does that mean to me? First and foremost, it's a mode of being. It doesn't just stop. It's not something that you get to turn off. No. Authenticity means that you're not willing to compromise on them core values because they're that makes up your character. And you're not willing to give your character up for anybody because that's what makes you authentic. And it's a fucking merry-go-round. It's a mode of being, you know? It's real, it's rough, it's raw. And you know what else it is? And this is for the men, all the tough men out there, all you gangsters out there. It's vulnerability, you know? I wasn't a man until I could get vulnerable. For so long I thought I was tough. I thought I was rough because, you know, you couldn't fuck with me, you couldn't talk shit to me, and I didn't open up, and I didn't lean on people, and I didn't share. But I became a man when I started getting vulnerable. Let me tell you right now. Not only did I become a man, I became a leader. Because space to be oneself, right? You can't do that without vulnerability, authenticity, vulnerability. Oof. Core values. I know we touched on a little bit today, but it was a good day. And I just want to shout out to Brother Paul again. Thank you, bro. Oof. You got my mind very, very stimulated. You better watch this episode. You walk in greatness, bro. 100%. Like you had lots of kind words for me today, and I'm not sure how to take it all. But bless your soul, brother. You know, two cats from two different walks of life. Fuck. Let's carry on this journey, eh? All right, folks. We'll wrap this one up. I'd just like to give thanks, all you beautiful peoples. And I just wanna I just want to say to everybody that's struggling a little bit, we got you, eh? We're sending that love, them blessings, that joy. We're sending that your way. And I don't fuck around when I say that either. You know, you might not feel it today, you might not feel it tomorrow, but it's coming. And it's, it might give you a little boost, might give you a little leg up, maybe something speak to you, but blessings coming, eh? The only way is up. All right, let's finish with the poem. Poem. What do we got? We're gonna take it back or what? Let's go back. Okay. Oof. Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. Begin with the end in mind. Who knows what you may find? It might be an open door that's always been locked. Maybe it's the key to living steady on the grind. Passion and purpose. Accept what you feel is inevitable. Some things in this life aren't questionable. Objective truths set in stone, the universe and all its being waits for no one. Even if you're feeling left, lost, and alone, stop that mindless scrolling. Get off your phone. Begin with the end in mind. Imagine every possible scenario. The beauty, the ugly, it's all a sign. It's the guide you need towards an existence blissfully divine. Aren't you sick of being dictated to by a broken society, mindless judgment, and untold anxiety? It wasn't supposed to be this way, the path of least resistance. Why are we lacking when push comes to shove? No determination, no persistence. We all want to bask in glory, yet so few ready and willing to tell their story. We let our past define our name. We make excuses and hang our heads in shame. We bang our heads against the wall over and over again. It's easier to wallow than to brush off the shoulder and stand up tall. Yet when we find our purpose, it's like a flip of the switch. Your consciousness begging you to answer the call of greatness, a journey that is never ending, like the first time you looked out at the ocean. It was nothing short of a magical potion. That's what we are seeking. That's the notion, the call of greatness. Do the work, and that's what awaits us. Beautiful peoples. Blessed weekend, eh? Fuck. Love you, fellas. Cheers. Peace.